Alright, 2018 had a lot of great movies, and likewise, it also had a lot of bad ones. Really bad ones. Really, really bad ones. Now, I wasn't able to see some of the great movies of last year, such as Creed 2 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, so those unfortunately will not be making this list. But if you want to know what I think of those movies, then follow me on Twitter, as I will give my small impressions on them once I've seen them. So, let's get this top 5 list started. Number 5. Aquaman. I did a versus video on this just a couple days ago, so I'll make this quick. The reason it is on this list is because this is by far one of the most fun and memorable films I've seen in 2018, and one of the most memorable cinema experiences I have ever had. This movie completely blew me away with regards to its special effects and action sequences, and all around I thought it was an epic movie. And whenever I reminisce about it, I am always filled with a feeling of happiness and excitement. I really did enjoy the heck out of this film, and its presentation style made me feel like a kid again. I can't recall a movie that's had this much of a positive effect on me, so for that alone, it deserves a place on this list. It also deserves a place on this list for being the best entry in the DCEU. I really can't wait to watch this movie again when it comes out on Blu-ray, but like I said in my Versus video, I am not going to watch it until I get a projector. You're doing yourself a disservice if you watch it on a regular television screen. Number 4. A Quiet Place. This film really took me by surprise. This is essentially a silent horror film, and that combination alone really cripples this movie's ability to make you care for the characters. But in spite of that, this movie succeeded with flying colours. It was full of tension, and you must watch this with a subwoofer and the volume turned up. Don't be like my sister who watched it at night and had the volume on low thinking that she would wake everyone up, because if you do that, then I'll have to tell you exactly what I told her, that you just ruined the movie for yourself. So do yourself a favour and watch this film with the volume cranked up, close the curtains, and make sure you have a good subwoofer, and you will be in for one of the most intense horror films ever. A movie is only as good as the execution of its concept, and this movie took full advantage of it, and it did not hold back. Number 3. Mission Impossible Fallout. It's amazing how the Mission Impossible sequels took a complete U-turn with the 4th movie and started to deliver sequels that were original and very successful action films. And Mission Impossible Fallout continues that success and was an incredibly fun action flick. Henry Cavill as the villain was spoiled in the trailers, but regardless, he was awesome. After watching him as Superman, it was interesting to see him play a straight-up villain, and of course, the action was fantastic, and that was largely down to the great choreography and the unbelievable stunt work, particularly from Tom Cruise himself. I mean seriously, I don't know how this guy keeps topping himself with the stunt work. And as the years go on, he's just getting older, but he keeps doing even more crazy stunts. Seriously, I can't praise him enough. I don't know how he is able to keep doing this. As far as action movies go, this felt like a true return to form. I love comic book action that we are getting in Marvel films, but I gotta tell ya, nothing beats traditional action. And with all the comic book movies that we are getting bombarded with, this was a breath of fresh air. The story was also very good, and I loved the twists and turns it took. One in particular involving Henry Cavill's character was genius. The only problem I had with the movie is that on multiple viewings, the pacing does feel a little slow in a couple of scenes, but other than that, this was definitely a great movie, and it deserves a place on this list. Number 2. Upgrade. Now, I was debating whether or not to give this movie the number 1 spot, but in the end, I thought it would be more fitting in second place. To put it simply, Upgrade is the movie I wanted Venom to be. The parasite, or in this case, the artificial intelligence that is attached to our main character, is granting him the ability to walk again, as well as providing him with these abilities, but in the grand scheme of things, you start to question if it's even worth it, especially when the AI starts to develop a more sinister personality. It keeps you on the edge of your seat throughout the entire movie, as you don't know when or if this thing will stab him in the back. Venom, on the other hand, was just very one note and kept protecting Eddie, which left very little in the way of interesting interactions between the two. Bottom line, this movie was excellent. The action was great. Unlike Venom, it had some balls and was rated R and took full advantage of it. The intuitive use of camera work was very smartly utilized, and it is especially impressive when you take into account the movie had a very low budget. And the twist ending was amazing. And I usually wouldn't like this kind of twist, but this movie earned it and really made it work. The one big problem with this film is that it does have quite a significant plot hole. If you spend a little bit of time thinking about the events that took place in the movie, you can actually deconstruct it. But that being said, this movie was really good, and I want to see more original films like this in the future. Just don't give them to Sony and we should be alright. Number 1. It has all been building up to this, and honestly, I didn't think Marvel would be able to pull it off. And I was right. Marvel wouldn't be able to pull it off. They gave us Age of Ultron for crying out loud. The Russo brothers, on the other hand, gave us Infinity War. The Marvel Cinematic Universe to me is full of decent films, but none of them are great. The only ones that are from the Russo brothers: The Winter Soldier, Civil War, and now Infinity War. Without question, these are the best movies of the MCU. All the heroes are well utilized, and all of them, including the heroes I wasn't too fond of, I downright loved in Infinity War. And despite having all these great characters, the real star of this movie is Thanos, and he was an amazing villain. And again, Marvel had nothing to do with his success. The Russos are the ones that put all the time and effort into writing Thanos and making him this good. If the responsibility went to someone else like Joss Whedon or any of the other MCU directors, then Thanos would have been a lackluster villain cracking jokes every couple of minutes. But thankfully, he wasn't like that at all. Out of all the villains in the MCU, he is treated with the most respect and is portrayed in a very dignified manner, and you just can't get enough of him. Infinity War also has some of the best action out of all the Marvel Cinematic Universe films, and the same goes for the special effects. Practically every shot of this movie includes small to heavy amounts of CGI, and the amount of work and effort that was spent on them paid off big time. And without a doubt, Avengers Infinity War is the best film of 2018. Is it the best looking film of 2018? No, that title easily goes to Aquaman, but Infinity War is definitely the second best looking film of 2018. And seeing as the Russo brothers have a great track record, I already know that Avengers Endgame is going to be awesome. Whether it's going to be as good as Infinity War, we'll have to see. We are only 3 months away, and I can't wait to see it. So, that's my top 5 movies of 2018. Be sure to include your list in the comments below, and I will go through all of them. Now, I won't be making a top 5 worst films of 2018, as I pretty much stayed away from all of those last year, and I only saw a couple that would be categorized as worst films of the year, those being the ones I referenced at the beginning of this video. So, thank you very much as always for watching, guys, and thanks so much for your continuous support. Your comments on my last video were really flattering. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I really do appreciate every single one of you. As always, I will see all of you next time. Take care.